Welcome back, kindergartners, to chapter 8 of My Father's Dragon. So, in chapter 7, which you probably read yesterday, we met the lion. And if you think back to what happened in chapter 7, the lion's mane was all snarled. That means tangly. And so Elmer, of course, had to think fast, and he had brought a comb and a hairbrush and some hair ribbons. And so, sure enough, the lion was able to braid his hair, and he looks just simply magnificent. And if you remember, he really didn't want to get in trouble by his mother, who was coming later that day. On our board that you have, or on his knapsack, you want to go get this. If you need to go look for it, pause me for a second, run and get it. We were able to cross off two things, 2 rows, because he used his comb and his hairbrush, and he used 7 ribbons. So if you really look at Elmer's knapsack, we don't have very many things left. Let's read what we have left. This first pink one is we have 2 dozen pink lollipops, and that means 24. So we have 24 pink lollipops. We have a pack of rubber bands. We have 6 magnifying glasses, a sharp jackknife, and then down here at the bottom we have clean clothes and 25 PB&J sandwiches and 6 apples. So we know he's probably eating those. They're just not talking about it, is what I would think. On our map, we've now been able to circle 3 different animals that he has had to escape, which is pretty lucky, on Wild Island. And here's the big map. The other thing that we did in our last chapter was we separated our animals into 2 groups. So this group of animals was the group that he met right when he got to the island. And he didn't really have to trick them by giving them anything, but they are very suspicious that he's there. Now these animals all were dangerous towards him. Let me see if I can turn you just a little bit so you can see. Yeah, there you go. The tigers, the lion, and the rhinoceros. And these animals all wanted to eat him, but he had to trick them. So these animals are more suspicious and wondering what's happening, where these animals want to eat him and then end up being tricked by something in his knapsack. So I'm going to turn you a little bit. I don't think I told you in the last class what today's chapter was named. So you had to really use your map. Today's chapter, chapter 8, is called My Father Meets a Gorilla. Is that what you thought? Good job. All right. My father was very hungry, so he sat down under a baby banyan tree on the side of the trail and ate 4 tangerines. He wanted to eat 8 or 10, but he only had 13 left, and it might be a long time before he could get more. He packed away all the peels in his pack and was about to get up when he heard the familiar voices of the boars. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen them with my own eyes, but you wait and see for yourself. All those tigers back there are sitting around chewing gum to the beat of the band, and that old rhinoceros is so busy brushing his tusk that he doesn't even look around to see who's going by. And they're all so busy, they won't even talk to me. So here are the boars again. The boars are like the wild pigs, and they are very suspicious. And now they're even more suspicious that they've seen the tigers chewing gum and the rhinoceros brushing his tusk. So those are suspicious things. Oh, horse feathers, said the other boar, now very close to my father. They'll talk to me. I'm going to get to the bottom of this if it's the last thing I do. The voices passed, and my father went around the curve, and he hurried on because he knew how upset the boars would be when they saw the lion's mane tied up in hair ribbons. Before long, my father came to a crossroads, and he stopped to read the signs. Straight ahead, an arrow pointed to the beginning of the river. To the left, an arrow pointed to the ocean rocks, and to the right, an arrow pointed to the Dragon Ferry. My father was reading all these signs when he heard paw steps, and he ducked behind the signpost. A beautiful lioness paraded past him and turned down towards the clearings. Although she could have seen my father if she had bothered to glance at the post, she was much too occupied, looking dignified, to see anything but the tip of her own nose. So she could have, if she had looked around a little bit, seen the little boy. He was hiding right behind the sign. Did you see him on that page? There he is, hiding right behind it. But she's much too dignified. That means she's walking with her nose in the air, a little bit snooty, and she's not paying attention to anything. Now this, of course, was the lion's mother. And that, thought my father, must mean that the dragon is back on his side of the river. So he hurried on, but the jungle seemed farther than he judged. He finally came to the riverbank in the late afternoon, and he looked all around, but there was no dragon anywhere in sight. Ugh, he must have flown back to the other side. My father sat down under the palm tree and was trying to come up with a good idea when suddenly something big and black and hairy jumped out of the tree and landed with a loud crash right at his feet. "Well," said a huge voice. "Well, what?" said my father, for which he was very sorry when he looked up and discovered he was talking to an enormous and very fierce gorilla. "Well, explain yourself," said the gorilla. "I'll give you until 10 to tell me your name and your business and your age." "And what's in your pack?" And suddenly he began counting to 10 as fast as he could. How quick can you count to 10? Let me hear it. It's fast. Good job. My father didn't even have time to say, "I'm Elmer Elevator and I'm an explorer," before the gorilla interrupted. "Too slow. I'll twist your arms the way I twist that dragon's wings, and then we'll see if you can hurry up a bit." He grabbed one of my father's arms, one in each fist, and was just about to twist them when suddenly he let go of his arms and started scratching his chest with both hands. "Oh, blast all these fleas!" he raged. They won't give me a moment's peace. And the worst of it is, I can't even get a good look at them. Rosie, Rhoda, Rachel, Ruthie, Ruby, Roberta, come here and get rid of these fleas off my chest. It's driving me crazy." Suddenly, 6 little monkeys tumbled out of the palm tree, dashed to the gorilla, and began combing through the hair on his chest. "Well," said the gorilla, "it's still there. Oh, it's scratching." "Well, we're looking, said the 6 little monkeys. "But fleas are awfully hard to see, you know." "Oh, I know," said the gorilla, "but hurry, I've got work to do." And he winked at my father. All of a sudden, "Oh, gorilla," said my father. What do you think he has in his pack that would be useful for a gorilla who needs help seeing something? Do you think you know? We have lollipops left, rubber bands, magnifying glasses, sharp jackknife, clean clothes, and sandwiches and apples. have a guess? "Oh, gorilla," said my father. "In my knapsack, I have 6 magnifying glasses. They'd be just the tool for hunting fleas." My father unpacked them and gave 1 to Rosie, 1 to Rhoda, 1 to Rachel, 1 to Ruthie, 1 to Ruby, and 1 to Roberta. So magnifying glasses magnify something really small. So they take something really small and they make it bigger. There's something scientists use. We're going to be using those this year when we're scientists. "Why, these are miraculous," said the 6 little monkeys. "It's easy to see the fleas now, only, Mr. Gorilla, there are hundreds of them." And they went on hunting frantically. A moment later, many more monkeys appeared out of a nearby clump of mangroves and began crowding around to get a look at the fleas through the magnifying glasses. They completely surrounded the gorilla, and he couldn't even see my father, nor did he remember to twist his arms. So a lot of times in jungles, there's animals who help out other animals. And in this situation, and in real life even, there are some types of monkeys who will go up onto a gorilla and pick off all the bugs that might be itching at the gorilla's fur. So this is what happened in the story. And now these monkeys have these magnifying glasses so they can see the fleas. And they tell the gorilla that there's a lot more than just one. So now they're very busy. So that is it for today. So of course, we have some work to do now. Okay, let's see. Our animal that we met in this chapter, we actually met 2. We met a gorilla and we met the monkeys, right? So the gorilla and the monkeys, and these animals were animals that were a danger to him. Not so much the monkeys, but definitely the gorilla. He was going to twist his arms, just like he does the baby dragon. So we're going to have to scoot some of these over because I don't have any more of these little holders. They're very handy. We'll put gorilla there and monkeys here for today. They both fit in perfect. Okay. Gorilla and monkeys are who we saw today. And then, of course, you need to take out your list and find your fancy pen. And our fancy pen, we need to cross out the yellow words, which happen to be the 6 magnifying glasses. So let's cross those out. We don't have very many things left on our list. And on the back, I don't know if you can see, you've really got to use those X-ray eyes. Do you see that gorilla way up there? I'm going to circle it on mine. It looks like a big gorilla with a bunch of tiny dancing monkeys. And it's very peculiar where we end up in this book, or in this chapter. We end all the way up here, almost to the side of Wild Island that doesn't have anything on it. But here's a clue. So look where we are. I'm going to tell you what the name of the next chapter is. And I want to see if you have any ideas for the next chapter, okay? So I'm going to put my map down. You can keep looking at yours. The name of the next chapter is Chapter 9, My Father Makes a Bridge. Have some ideas? I bet you do. All right, so tune back in tomorrow for Chapter 9. And I'll see you later, alligator. There's no place like home. Bye, kindergartners.